Jim Jones. Who is Jim Jones? As though he's not in anyone's top 10 list. He's not on anyone's top 10 list. Perhaps not even his relatives. Maybe you are terrified to hustle because they are snitching so much. Maybe that's what's happening. I would be terrified to hustle too, knowing that everyone else is snitching just so he doesn't want you. No time because these people can't bear being in jail. The rapper Jim Jones is categorized as a federal informant in court records related to the Tekashi case in the original court, previously available internet transcripts. The interaction between individual 1, Jim Jones, is in a conversation with Jamal Mel Murder Jones. He is identified as collaborating with federal authorities, which could explain why Jim Jones has already managed to evade prison. Despite having a lengthy criminal record, an old audio recording of Jay-Z calling Jim Jones a snitch has been leaked, but Jay-Z's #1 person at Roc Nation is a verified federal informant. So, why now? And why Jim? So, as you are all aware, Jim Jones lately caused a lot of his remarks regarding NAS sparked controversy. And that's when Jim's previous drama started, pouring back up, including invoices, proving he cooperated with the feds. But here's where it gets complicated. If Jay-Z is anti-snitching, why is his own? Is the right-hand woman a known informant? Why did Jay offer Jim Jones the Roc Nation? What if he realized he was a snitch? As far as we can tell, no expenses are being spared. We ate a black billionaire's lunch. Do you understand? And we are here together. I believe we've moved past kneeling. Let me play again. But this time, see the reaction of the lady sitting directly behind him. She's concerned about DJ's response because she is the CEO of Roc Nation in her previous life. She was an FBI informant. Okay, let's start with the sounds. This whole thing started because of a leak. In this unearthed film, Jay was discussing his quarrel with Jim Jones, and he simply called Jim a bogus rapper who dossed in and registered as one of his peers because his work in the industry is unrelated to music. What's up with Jim Jones? Man, hip-hop, as you know, is a competitive sport. On the other hand, it's as if certain people shouldn't be able to pronounce your names until they did something in the musical genre. I've done too much. It is difficult to answer that question with this song, just like Jim Jones. Who is Jim Jones? Like he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not on anyone's top 10 list. Perhaps not. Including his family. I mentioned last night that he's the 8th guy on the bench is screaming at Jordan like he's a bum. How are you going to be like a 9th player on the bench? I am not even bothered about you. Does this suggest Jay knew something about Jim before? Others did, and if Jay was indicating that Jim was a false rapper and an informant, why did he bring Jim to Roc Nation? Okay, let's first address the rumors that Jim is a Fed snitch. These rumors have been around for a while, but trust 50 Cent to make sure nobody forgets. 50 put the snitch talk back in the spotlight with Jim appeared in an Instagram post alongside Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a few others, and he put in the caption, LOL. Individual 1, you're the one calling the shots out here. I know you're working, so don't call me gangsterish. Individual 1. If you're wondering what that was about, it ties back to those long-standing accusations that Jim was cooperating with the feds during Tekashi's 6ix9ine racketeering case. So, when 6ix9ine was on the stand, snitching on his 9 Trey Bloods crew, a wiretapped phone call leaked. Jim was heard declaring that Tekashi ain't a gang member no more, and needs to be violated. Of course, he did not waste time and posted the complete transcript of that call. As you all know, in 2018, Tekashi received hit with federal racketeering and gun accusations. Along with a lot of 9 Trey Gangster Bloods members, a deadly crew. Linked to the Bloods. The feds had been constructing a case against Nin Trey Manute. When Tekashi was detained and accused, he began cooperating. Strike a deal. Tekashi 6ix9ine, a Brooklyn rapper, pled guilty to federal crimes, admitting participation in a violent gang. He also committed to assist with prosecutors. The rapper, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez, claims he joined the 9 Trey Blood gang in the fall of 2017. He claims he assisted them in attempting to kill a rival gang member in March of last year. Prosecutors believe the group committed acts of murder, robbery, and drug trafficking in Manhattan, Bronx, and Brooklyn. Additionally, the indictment stated that each gang member was necessary to participate in at least 2 acts of racketeering conspiracy, which might include murder and robbery, extortion, or drug distribution. The plea deal may allow Hernandez leniency at the sentencing. He faced a mandatory 47-year prison sentence, so. At his courtroom snitch fest in September 2019, Tekashi took the stand and informed on his former group, revealing names like Anthony Harv, Ellison, Algeria, Nuke, Mac, and a few others. He basically drew out a comprehensive playbook of 9 Trey movements, putting a lot of dirt on the record. So where does Jim Jones come in? Well, his name appeared on wiretap tape played throughout the trial. Jones was allegedly overheard on one of the calls speaking with Jamal Mel Morta Jones, another top 9 Trey member. During that chat, they seemed to be planning how to deal with Tekashi after went public with his decision to leave the gang, and it seemed like Jim was hinting at something, kind of revenge. He definitely terribly shy right now. But well, you got your photo up there next to the post. Man, when you go to YouTube and WorldStar, they have his photo next to this. They got a split screen with a shoddy photo next to what he said about his insane son. But he's doing it to make K9 think he doesn't have a relationship with boy. That's what he's attempting to accomplish. He tries. He's attempting to underscore that's okay, but now he needs to get violated. Yeah, super violated. Super fantastic. So there's really much he really does, except go for walks and runs around. With 100 securities throughout the day. Do you understand what I am saying? He's going to grow tired of P. He's not getting enough money for it. That is a fact. And he just cancelled all of his gigs and is no longer a part of the group. Nah, he's not nothing. That's what needs to accomplish. No, he's no longer a gang member. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shy needs to expose him. That tape caught a lot of attention. Not only did it connect Jim Jones to the top 9 Trey members, but it also a larger question. How did Jim find up on a government wiretap discussing gang business and still walk away without being charged? So, following the trial, individuals began asking the obvious. How did Jim be caught on video talking about despite violating someone? He is the only NAY affiliate who is not charged. Naturally, this spurred significant debate that Jim might have been working with the FBI, or at least at the very least, they cooperated enough to avoid heat, and nobody pushed that angle harder than Whack 100. He openly referred to Jim as a government informant, claiming that the only reason he wasn't arrested was he was cooperating with law enforcement. Whack doubled down. Clubhouse was mentioned in interviews, including one with Tekashi, and he actually. Jim was challenged to clear his name and present receipts proving he wasn't cooperating. Jim Jones, correct? He ran with the same group of people I did a decade ago. Jim Jones, the Dipset, was dancing just over there versus Jim Jones, who was running with Shoddy Kano Jordan. Mel Matrix, JL Jones, murdered Roland Martin as he was running full banger, Fuan. I forget his last name. Fuku was running with all of the cats that I had gotten for his daddy. Do you know what Jim Jones did? That underscore didn't care. None of them. Since when I ran to him, Shoddy was sleeping on the rug on Madison between Tompkins and Troopbum. Mel Murder was on Gates, and Marcus Garvey was with his bae mommy. Roland Martin was just in his 9th year. He botched the trial. That makes them the ones who look after them. I from Shotty was asleep on a rug, then driving a 63 Benz in 6 months while living in a condo and meeting with Kanye. Kanye took him to Yeezy meetings, board meetings, and Matrix had his owns everything on his own. His son Lee Roland Martin arrived home to a new AP, watches, money, automobiles, everything. That Jim Jones didn't care. None of his can. In addition, Jim Jones was informing John. Jim Jones was caught on wiretap. Jim Jones was caught on wiretap on my case, instructing the big buddy, Mel Matrix Gel Jones, to go get rid of my security. How do you do it? How do you shoot at them? They have no license to carry guns. I own nothing in New York. Whack agrees with him and states that the AUDIO can be found online because it was used throughout the trial. 6ix9ine and Whack both query why Jim Jones isn't in jail if he was caught on video saying he was going to kill 6ix9ine, indicating he must have cooperated in the trial. 6ix9ine also begins making some. Rock Nation's CEO, Desiree Perez, has faced charges, but Whack shut him down before he says too much. Morta, Jimmy, Detective Jones, folks from Splash Brand, do not put up with poor performance. I spent 4 years in the F-homie because I'm not a snitch. You put your best friend on a wiretap. See Whack 100 and Tekashi. They don't have receipts, like, that since they don't know. I understand. All right. Now that you know where everything is, the Jim Jones is a snitch debate has begun. Let us return to Jay-Z. Do Toto understand why Jay may have set Jim up for a public humiliation? Consider how deep their feud is. So Jay and Jim had a long-running fight that lasted over a decade, dating far back. During the early 2000s, it began in 2002, when Dame Dash introduced Cameron and Jim transforms into Rockefeller. The tension began when Jim said Cam was promised a Vice. Jay claimed to be the label's president, although he never formally confirmed it. Jay, the source, at the time, that has not yet taken effect. I believe the talk as it is a little premature right now. Now, this was all happening around the same time. Jay and Nas were having a disagreement at the time. Jay chose to record a remix of Cam. Joel Santana's track Oh Boy had shots at Nas. However, Cam and Jim, they were not feeling it. They refused to release the remix. And Cam actually finished. He ended up cutting Jay's verse, and later stated that he was not going to let Jay use their record to fight his own battles. I did a little something for you at the studio. Then he had a son with Old Boy. This Old Boy is already at #1. Yes, it's popping. This to listen to it, and was like, erase that underscore. And that moment pretty much set the tone. Cam and Jim believed that Jay did not appreciate them. So that's when the sneak disses truly took off. Jim began criticizing Jay more in interviews and on the radio, calling him out as corporate, out of touch with the street, and soft. Let's get right to it. There appears to be some turmoil. You and The Rock, Jay-Z, you try to diss him. That is just nobody. You disparaged him. I just said no. I disparaged Michael Jordan. Music, oh man, there is no drama. No, we'll get to it. We'll get to that. If you are unfamiliar with Dame Dash, she is the founder of Rockefeller Records. He is responsible for Rockefeller's removal from the floor. That began in Harlem. You understand what I am talking about. Jim also made it clear that height was all about integrity and staying true. He even criticized rappers who they became snitches. You think they're hustling because they have to, and they ain't keeping it funky like they used to. So I don't understand. Maybe terrified to hustle cause snitching too much. Maybe that's what's happening. I'd be terrified to hustle too, knowing that everyone else is doing it just so he doesn't want to spend any time in jail since he can't handle being there. Now to say not to brag about when I was rising up. Kind of delighted to go to jail to claim he did something strong, even though I never have been behind the walls myself. But when I was around, there used to be some bragging. When we were younger, we used to have parties like I just came home from. Today, you punks, they are afraid to go in and do the damn job. And at first, Jay remained quiet, didn't answer explicitly. But everyone knew there was tension inside Rockefeller. Then in 2006, Jim released We Fly High. The song was a great smash, and that's when Jay finally decided to answer with Brooklyn Hyrup. It's over for you. Give me back. It's over for you. But it wasn't finished yet since Jim fired back with another remix of We Fly High Beef Mix, where he went after Jay's age, calling him an old head and sending straight shots with remarks like warn, you're old A to chill. Better slow down before your old A is killed. Now fast forward to 2008, and the beef has overflowed into real life. That's when security tape captured Jim putting his hands on someone inside a Louis Vuitton store. And it turned out that the person was Jay's longtime A&R is Lenny Santiago. Jim was arrested for it and eventually pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor assault. While Jay didn't remark directly on the incident, a few months later, in a XXL interview, he took jabs at Jim, stating tracks like Nah 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 are exactly what's bringing down the society. Down, Jay said. Like Jim Jones, for example, and I do not mean this because we never agree. He made it Nah 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 Nah. What's the distinction between Smiley Face by Trey Songz, Unsoul Ya Boy, and Nah 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 may have been nicknamed Happy Faces? After that, the beef was quiet, for a while, until in 2015, Die-Pet revived things with a freestyle. Over Diddy's triumphant beat, Cam and Jim fired rounds at Jay and Roc Nation, ridiculing the Roc Nation brunch and criticizing Jay for being very soft and corporate. Then things took a crazy turn. Jim instantly switched, began imploring Jay to sign him. Jumped to February 2017, after 13 years of Jim officially signed with Roc Nation and joined Jay's team. And now, another former adversary appears to be relying on Hose Crew to help him advance his career. According to Dip, Jim Jones is purportedly headed to Roc Nation. Capo shared a photo of bottles of on Instagram. Deuce and Ace of Spades were pictured next to a Roc Nation letterhead. And fans were asked to caption it. Jim didn't keep things low-key either. Jim boasted about being invited to Jay's Roc Nation brunch, which he previously criticized. He also began praising Jay openly, and was definitely going above and beyond to demonstrate his dedication. Music, but, once again, Jay remained silent, scarcely acknowledging Jim's arrangement with Roc Nation. Jay made it plain that he intended to keep things strictly professional and did not want others to think he and Jim were close. Now here's where things get interesting. Some argue that Jay's pact with Jim was a chess move rather than a truce, because as we all know, Jay-Z is infamous for absorbing his competitors. Think about the Locks. Fat Joe, J. Cole, Meek, they all had conflicts with Jay-Z and ended up an agreement with Roc Nation. Now, what about Jim Jones? After Jay brought him to, Jay kept his distance from The Rock. So was Jay, protecting his brand and staying away from the Tekashi problem and snitching claims. Here's where things become tough. DJ's "I don't mess with snitches" act. That could be merely for show because, guess what? Jay's right-hand woman is Desiree Perez, the president of Roc Nation, is a documented informant. Alright, remember when Jay-Z stated this? "I believe we've moved past kneeling, let me play again." But this time, see the reaction of the lady sitting directly behind him. She's concerned about Jay's response because she is the CEO of Roc Nation. In her previous life, she was an FBI informant. Desiree Perez was arrested in 1994 for smuggling Grisel Delanco's 35 keys to Miami under. She consented to wear wire for the DEA. A quick side remark. Dame Dash refused to reveal Desiree Perez's name during her Breakfast Club interview. Once had specific pals, but we no longer talk about him where I come from. Now, about that period. Jay's Price spearheaded Roc Nation's prison reform initiative with Meat Mill. Her hard work must have paid off. Because the list was created on January 19, 2021, released Desire, Press's criminal history had just been wiped clean by third-party President Donald Trump. So, if Jay is comfortable doing business with informants, then why would he ghost Jim Jones over snitching allegations? Well, that's when the stories began circulating. What if Jay-Z was playing both sides? Perhaps it was never about loyalty. Perhaps it is about control. Power. After all, Jay did not need Jim, but Jim clearly needed Jay. And when Jim's name touched those wiretabs, Jay Diddy always protects the brand, so maybe Jay wasn't mad, but Jim might have snitched. Perhaps he was upset that Jim wasn't the snitch. And this raises a lot of inquiries concerning the type of firm Roc Nation truly exists. Desiree Perez is the head of Roc Nation. Good evening to everyone. I give a shout out to Desi. Shout out to Desi. She got me out. She brought me out of thigh contract. Shout out to Desire. Okay, do you know about this? Nah. Desire Perez became a cooperating witness with the D. In the 90s. She was arrested in 1994 for possession of 35 kilograms of cocaine. Desire Perez and the entire wicked system of Roc Nation, which includes you, J-Z. Yes, you claim to have risen from the ranks of gunners.